Okay, this is a video showing how to install the bearings from hell into the CV joint for MR2 Turbo. And I've watched a couple of videos that are on YouTube already that show how to do this, and no disrespect to them, because without them I wouldn't have figured out as far as I did, but they were confusing to me and I ended up spending hours trying to install it the wrong way. So I want to make it very clear what the right way is. So when you take these apart, they're going to just roll all over the place. And you end up with an inner race, an outer race, and the cage. Now the inner race has, I don't know if you can see, there's a place right here where it's been flattened down and the it doesn't stick down as far, and that's for sliding onto the axle, and it's going to go over the edge here of this bump so that it can go on far enough to get the clip in that groove. If you go on the other way, it won't go on far enough to expose that groove, and you need it exposed. So when you're putting that together, this cage goes this way, so you're going to want to have the part that's flattened pointing up. So point that up, put it in the middle. If you can see, there you go. Place the cage on the outside of it, and you're going to place the bearings into the cage. And they're a little hard to get to stay there. It's
helps it to center.
Yeah, you have to keep it really centered. And I've heard both ways, to either put grease on them or not. I am not, but it also means that they're a little harder to keep in place. Now, if you look at the top of this, you can see there's a thinner top, and then there's a part where there's farther apart on the top. And on the bottom of this is the same way in the top. So since the bottom of this one and the top of this one are going to be next to each other, that's what I line up. I line up the fat side of the bottom with the fat side of the outer race. So fat sides are together where they're touching. That means that once it's pushed in, it'll be the other way around. You'll have the fat side to the narrow side of the top. So now that you have on top of here, you have to kind of hold the bearings in and lift up the cage while leaving the inner race on the ground. And you could lift this up, and you kind of bring some pressure to push the bearings and the cage into the outer race. And then you kind of shake it. And you want to watch from the top here. You can see you want her to keep them flat if possible, and the bearings are starting to go into there. All right, I just messed up, so I got to start over again, but probably mostly because I'm trying to narrate at the same time.
Didn't you put something in the center before, just so things wouldn't fall through?
I did, yeah. I put this in the center.
That can be helpful if you're learning.
Putting something in here keeps the bearings from falling in, so if you mess up, it's easier to recover. So again, fat bottom to fat top.
Like when they were saying fat, like it goes wide, narrow, wide, narrow, wide, narrow.
Yeah, so the channels that the balls go in are angled, so they get closer together, and the bottom here and farther apart here. So the farther apart ones leave a wider rim. So I take the place where the channels are farther apart and line that up with where the channels are farther apart on that part.
Perfect.
Like that. Holding the balls in. Lifting it up and shaking, trying to keep it flat. And you don't want the balls to go above the inner race. You want it to go kind of just on the edge of where they're going to go in. And see, now it's in. And you can tell you have it the right way because this can move around. If you put them the other way, which is a lot harder, they won't move at all. They're just stuck and they won't change angle at all. Anyway, I hope that's helpful.